Hey guys, Wendell Sailor here for PNGBet.com, and we get into round 12. Well, there were some upsets last week. Wasn't my best tipping effort, but this week, let's see what I can do. Well, what a way to start round 12. Broncos versus Storm. The Broncos, well, I'm going to be honest, I didn't expect to see what I saw against the Roosters. The Roosters have been busted, there's been some suspensions, but the Broncos, they started to play like the old Broncos. A couple of length of the field tries, they moved the ball so well, and some guys like Davida Pangai Jr. spotted young Sam Walker up all day. He kept going at him, so Sam Walker had a long night there. Albert Kelly was outstanding. What I love about Albert Kelly, he just plays what he sees. He plays off the cuff. There's no structure. He complements Milford quite well, and we know what the Broncos forwards did. They dished the Roosters up, but how can you go past the Storm? I know everybody's talking about the Penrith Panthers, but the Storm for me, the Storm are playing some great football. Some of the big dogs are still out, and Munster, I miss Munster. He's in doubt for Origin. There's no Ryan Pappenhausen at the back, but they're just too good, even at Suncorp Stadium. Where I'm looking at going here, well, we know that Justin Long's playing some really good football, and the Fox, Josh Adokar, he's playing great. I can't believe this price, but the Broncos at home, $5.85. The Melbourne Storm, $1.10. But I know why, because the Melbourne Storm, they've got the wood on the Broncos. I think they've beaten them I think they've got like a 75% winning record against the Broncos. Remember back in the day, Cooper Cronk had a great record. Where I'd go here, but I think with a couple of big names out, it's at Suncorp Stadium, I would take the Brisbane Broncos I'll take the Brisbane Broncos with the 18.5 start. I think last week we given them a bit of confidence. The Melbourne Storm has still got some players out, even though they're playing some good football. I think the Broncos here will go all right with 18.5 start, but the Storm will win the game. But obviously they're short. So I'd have to be like a genius to work that out. The Storm are playing well. The Panthers are playing good, but the Storm Morning, I think they're the team to beat this year. Hello guys, Wendell Sailor here for PNGBet.com. And the Cowboys, they're playing some really good football against the Warriors. I'm not sure how the Warriors got out of jail last week, but probably because they got a guy named Tuivasa Sheck playing on the wing. He gives you so much confidence. And the young bloke at the back, Reece Walsh. I'm not sure how the Broncos let this whiz kid go. 18 years of age, he's scoring tries, he's setting tries up. He made a mistake early in the game, but obviously he came back to do some good stuff. The Cowboys are playing some really good football on the back of guys like Valentine Holmes, and we all know how good young Drinkwater's playing at the moment. He's given them confidence. Also their wingers, Cole Felt and Tuolangi. It's really good balance throughout their team, and at the moment, winning form is good form. Up there in Townsville, this is a close one. The Warriors are favoured to $1.82. The Cowboys are $1.88. Where I see this one going down to the wire, I'm taking the North Queensland Cowboys just to win. I think the Cowboys can get the job done. Obviously this week, no Tamalolo. He's a big loss, and that's probably why the Warriors are favourites. So get on the Cowboys. Yeah. Well, what a Friday night game we got for you. The Tigers versus the Dragons. The Dragons have been knocked out a few times in the elimination final through the Tigers. The Tigers for me, I'm just not sure. When I think they can win a game, I tip them, and you know what? They lose. So I just don't know what I'm going to do here. The Dragons have got some suspended players, and also they've got some young players that are doing a great job for them. Where do I go with this? Not sure. But the young players are starting to do a really good job for the Dragons. They had enough chances to win that game last week against the Sharks, but Corey Norman, he came out and apologised. I know players like to come out and apologise, but the action is about being on the field, doing your thing. Where I see this one going, it's a tough one. I'm going to probably tip the Tigers here, reluctantly, because I think the Dragons are playing some okay football, but the Dragons, they haven't got that run of form. Young Dane Laurie at the back. I know we're talking about Rookie of the Year like Sam Walker and all these guys, but Dane Laurie's playing some really good football. West Tigers, $1.46. The Dragons are $2.52. Where I see this one going, I'm just taking the West Tigers to win here. So if you want some value, go the -7.5 for $1.93, but the West Tigers here in a tight one. Well, round 12, the Panthers versus the Dogs. The Panthers, they're on fire at the moment, the Doggies. Had one win. They just can't take a trick. The Panthers' strength It's all over the park. We can see what they're doing. Their forwards are doing a good job. Their backs are scoring tries at will. The benches are doing a wonderful job. The Bulldogs, there's just no trust in what they're doing. I call this game for Triple M, and just when you think the Bulldogs are going to do something, they find a way to lose. Whether it's a player getting sin bin, whether it's dropping the ball, in the red zone. Where I see this one going, I certainly want Trent Barrett and the Bulldogs to get a win, but there's no way that you're beating the Panthers. This is an easy one for me. I have never seen a price like this. The Panthers are $1.06. The Bulldogs are $15. That's right, $15. I know that they're going to have to lose at some stage, the Panthers, but it won't be from the Bulldogs. And they're giving 32.5 start. The way they're playing at the moment, the Panthers, you go to minus 32.5, and I reckon you'll cash in. It's going to be a long season for the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs, and I'll tell you what, they'll also get the spoon. Well, round 12, the Bunnies versus the Eels. Both last start losers, and the Bunnies were absolutely skinned by the Panthers. They just couldn't go with them. For me, it's very frustrating to see a team with this much quality through. Latrell Mitchell came back last week, but they've lost 2 games now by 50 points. They've got so much talent in this team, and they've got a super coach. He's going to have to work miracles here for them to get back on track this year. A lot of the experts are saying that the Bunnies can't win it. No side, I think, in the history of rugby league has won a grand final after being beaten by 50 points, not once, but twice. So history could be made this year. All the experts are tipping against them now. The Eels at the moment, the Eels tried hard the other night, but Manly, on the back of Bozo Fulton passing away, the great man, the Eels, they just couldn't get their timing going. Their forwards got dominated. Papa Lee tried really hard, and Nathan Brown, but their backs. Mitchell Moses is a guy who's got to stand up. So if you want to stand up, this is a team to stand up against. It's got to be on the back of Mitch Moses. Young Jacob Arthur is playing some really good football. I think this will be his last week in there before Dylan Brown returns. Where I see this one going? At Stadium Australia. Well, this is a close one. The Bunnies are $1.79. Parramatta Eels are $2.03. I'm going to tip the Eels here. I just can't see the Bunnies. I know they can win, but I just don't trust them at the moment. The Parramatta Eels, I trust them. So Parramatta Eels at $2.05, I think is a great price. And I reckon they can bounce back too. Clint Gutherson's having a great season. He's trying really hard. For me, it's the Eels. The slippery Eels will get past the Bunnies. Here we go. Football at Central Coast Stadium. Roosters versus the Raiders. Well, the Roosters were very much humbled last week by, I suppose, the underperforming Broncos. They'll be embarrassed about last week. Young Sam Walker had a tough night. There's a couple of injuries, a couple of sin bins. Obviously, Victor Radley, who will be playing for a couple of weeks. But also the Raiders. The Raiders, they'll get flogged by the Melbourne Storm. They just can't get their timing. They can't get their aggression going. And I think it's big news in the nation's capital when you get a guy like George Williams who burst on the scene last year. He's homesick, so he's allowed to be released immediately. Where I see this game going, I've got to tip the Roosters because the Roosters know how to bounce back. The Raiders at the moment, I don't think they can make the top 8. I know they've got some good young players at the moment, but I think they're missing Charles Nickel-Cookster. I think he's been so strong for them over the year, and the last month since he's been injured, they can't fire a bullet. So for me, I'm going the Roosters. What price? $1.28, way too short. Raiders are $3.30. Mate, I'm giving them minus 12 for the Roosters for $1.96. That will be money for jam, I'd say, in this game. The round 12 match we have, the Sharks versus the Titans. Well, the Sharks, it wasn't pretty. Their first win, I think, since forever. And the Titans are starting to play some really good football on the back of guys like Brimston. He's just been fabulous. Origin's just around the corner. We know that. So Brimston, I think you're probably going to play in the centres for Queensland. But I just like what they're doing there. On the back of their forwards, Ford Awaker was playing really good football. Big Tino. And that man, David Fifita, is back in. That's a big in. That's the player that you want around this time of the season. He's back in. The Sharks will try really hard. Look, I don't think they turned the corner last week. I think they played a depleted Dragon side. And they got the job done on the back of guys like Matt Moylan and Sean Johnson last week. I just can't tip the Sharks, even though at this price, It's not a bad price. $2.17. Gold Coast Titans $1.60. In a 2-horse race, yeah, the Sharks, I don't trust them enough. I'm taking the Titans -2. But the Titans haven't played that well away from home this year. I remember the last couple of weeks ago they played Manly and got absolutely spanked. So get on the Titans. I'm sure they can get home here against the Sharks. Well, to round it off, we have the Knights versus the Eagles. The Knights. Well, the big in for them is Kalen Ponga. You talk about class, you got Kalen Ponga at the back for the Knights, and you got that man, Tommy Turbo. I did this game on Sunday at Bank West, and what Tommy Turbo is doing at the back has been absolutely fabulous. He's not just making players better around him and playing good football himself. Everything he's doing is class. We've been very spoiled over the years to have guys like Billy Slater, Brett Stewart, some of these great fullbacks, Anthony Minicello. But Tommy Trbojevic, if he keeps playing at this level, there's no doubt he could be the greatest Seagull in the history of the game. The Knights at the moment, they're just struggling. They're trying to find their identity. They're trying to find what structure works for them, but they just don't have it at the moment. They're making too many mistakes, and some of their players just haven't stepped up this year. You know, Clemmer's trying really hard, but he can't get there. Frizzell at the moment, he's getting stopped. And I look at the Seagulls side, even some of the no-names are playing some good football. Ruben Garrick, a good young player. Young Parker scored a couple of tries last week, but the guy that I've been really impressed with is Josh Schuster. He's such a talented young kid. So their forward pack's doing their work. Where I see this going, for me, well, it's obviously everything points to the Seagulls. I've learnt my lesson now. I tipped Parramatta last week, Manly Seagulls for me, and I think Newcastle Knights 365, deservedly so. I'm tipping Manly Seagulls, and I'm giving 13.5 start for $1.94. That's what I'm doing, because when you got Tommy Turbo doing what he's doing, Jason Saab, I think, has scored 10 tries in 7 games. It's just ridiculous. And what I do like too is their young forwards are doing a good job. Young Kepi's playing some good football. Paseka. So they're bringing their A game. Young Sipley. So I just think the Knights are in. They're in for a long day at McDonald Jones Stadium, especially when the Seagulls can go to Bank West, where Parramatta are very ready to lose, and dish them up like that. They weren't even in the game last week, the Parramatta Eels, because the Seagulls just had their way with them. So yeah, that's my tips this week, and I'm sure you guys will go all right. Well, that's Big Dell's tips for round 12. I'll see you same time, same place next week.